I've been doing quite a bit of Leuchtturm 1917 reviews and overviews for 2023. Today I have the B6 monthly planner and notebook. This is the B6 plus size. This planner is also available in a smaller A6 pocket size, a larger A5 medium, a B5 composition size, and an A4 plus, which is the master size. This B6 size is available in 8 colors on the Leuchtturm website. There is a purple, yellow, a green, a wine color, a darker blue, this kind of dusty blue, a forest green, and a black. It costs $19.50 in US dollars, and I purchased mine from a local stationery store called Jenny Bick Design in the Washington, D.C. area. All right, let's get into it. So this is the soft cover version. This cover has a soft kind of faux leather feel to it, and it is quite flexible. We see that it has this elastic band that matches the color of the notebook. It has 16 months covering November 2022 through February 2024. It covers 16 months. It says here that the planner goes from November 2022 through February 2024, but here it says it's a yearly planner from January 2023, so we'll get into it and see if we can't figure out that discrepancy. In the back, there's some more information. So here we have the color, which is stone blue. We have that there are labels for archiving, a pocket, 2 bookmarks. The weight of the paper is 80 grams and it is acid-free paper. So this is the monthly planner with notebook. So I'm going to take off that little wrapper. I do notice that in all of these soft color Leuchtturms and also in the hardcover, the elastic is quite tight, so it leaves a little bit of a ridge or a marking there on the very top of the notebook. We'll see if my camera is able to pick it up, but I just noticed that little indentation. It happens in the front and in the back here with the soft covers as well as the hard covers. When you first open it up, it is a little difficult for it to lay flat, but I have found that the soft covers for me are a little more difficult than the hard covers. Let me know in the comments section down below if that's true for you as well. You would think that the soft covers would be more malleable, but my experience has been just the opposite. Some of the extras that it comes with is this Writers and Thinkers little QR code, and this is the Leuchtturm 1917 group that's online. There's a little thank you note as well. And then there is this little booklet that comes with many of their notebooks, and it just explains the different offerings that they have in their line, different types of paper, different types of planners, as well as some accessories like the pen loop and the pencil. Right on this first page, we have a please return to section, and at the bottom here it says thank you very much in English, German, and French. This first page is a fairly thick cardstock, and right opposite of that page we have the format, the paper size. So it is the B6 Plus, which is 125 by 120 millimeters, and the weight of the paper. In case you're wondering, that is just over 4.5 inches wide and about 7.5 inches tall. That's followed by a blank page, and then we have a yearly overview for 2022. The ink in this planner is a very soft gray, and I really like gray inks. They just seem a little bit more calm and subtle compared to that stark, dark black ink. On every monthly overview, we have the indication of what week in the year it is. So starting with the 52nd week of the year, since there's some extra days in 2021. And then we have the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth week of the year, and so on and so forth until the end of 2022. The next page has 2023 on the left-hand side and 2024 on the right-hand side. again in that same muted gray, and you also have the Sundays bolded on every week. Given that this is 60-gram paper, you do have some ghosting from the opposite side, so I think the gray ink helps to minimize that. The next page is a perpetual calendar starting in January and ending in June of 2023. Here you have a listing of all of the days of the month as well as the dates next to them. You have the Sundays slightly bolded and a line following that Sunday indicating a division between weeks. You also have moon phase indicators, but no other holidays or notations. Then we have the rest of 2023 starting in July and ending in December. That's followed by the same format for the first 6 months of 2024. Finally, you have the last 6 months of 2024 starting in July and ending in December. Next, you have a list of international holidays. There are several countries covered here, and the holiday dates run from November 2022 through February 2024. Next is a project planner for 2023. On the left-hand side, you have January through June, and then on the right-hand side, you have July through December. At the very top, it has the day of the month, as well as what weekday that day happens to fall on. It is rather small, but this is a good place to do any kind of daily habit tracking or long-term project planning as it's meant for. I don't generally project plan like this, but it might be something that I want to try over the next year. The following page has project plans for all of 2024, again starting in January and ending in December. Just like the B5 version that I reviewed several weeks ago, there is a very faint denotation of the week of the year in each of these sections. So for January, you'll have a very, very faint 1, 2, 3, and 4, indicating the specific weeks of the year, but they are very faint. Even in person, they're difficult to pick up. Next, there are the monthly overviews. So this starts in November 2022. On the top right-hand corner, you have a monthly overview of the previous month as well as the upcoming month. At the very end of the week, you have blank boxes, and they are marked with the particular week of the year. So that would be week 44 in 2022, 45, 46, and so on. And at the very bottom, at the end of the month, there's also a large blank space. I'm not sure why, but at the bottom right-hand corner of each box, there is a little line there. So if you're trying to keep track of something as the days go by, you can write it down there. For example, I track my weight daily, or if there's something else that you want to write in that little space, there is a denotation after every box. And that is also included in the weekly boxes here at the end if you wanted to do something like a rolling average. November is followed by December, then January, and the last monthly overview is for February of 2024. So if I had to say which description was most accurate, I would say that this is a monthly planner with notebook that covers from November 2022 through February 2024, since really these are the only pre-printed pages, and everything thus far has taken us at least into February of 2024, and some of the long-term planning pages take you all the way through the end of 2024. So I think that longer time period is the more accurate description. After the monthly overview for 2024, you get 2 pages of index. It says content here, and then there's page, theme, or topic, or subject. Each of these lines has a small break in the middle so that you can write the page number on one side on the left-hand column, and you can write the topic or subject on the right-hand column. After these 2 index pages, you have 1 blank page, and you can see here the significant amount of ghosting that happens when you have this weight of paper, because you can see the index right through there. Even though this is a blank sheet of paper, it looks like it's a lined sheet of paper, and that's coming from the other side. To the right of that blank sheet of paper, you have your first dotted grid. You also have your first numbered page. These dots are the same soft gray as the ink used in the other pages, and the number is also in that nice soft gray color. There are 138 of these dot grid pages in the notebook. As with all Leuchtturm 1917 notebooks that I've had so far, there are 2 bookmarks. The bookmarks are the same color or a complementary color to the outside cover, and one of the bookmarks is a solid and the other one is striped with gray. At the back of this notebook, there is again this hard cardstock page. There are also labels for archiving. These square labels could be placed on the front of the book, and these longer ones are for the spine of the book. In the back, you have a heavy cardstock file folder, and you have a cloth tape that makes that gusset. In the back, there's a 1917 embossing. And now it's time for the pen test. Today, I'm going to be using the Pilot Varsity as my fountain pen, the Pentel Sign Pen as my brush pen, the Le Pen pen as my felt tip, the Pilot Friction as my erasable ballpoint pen, my Crayola Super Tips as my bold tip, and as always, my Sharpie as my Sharpie. And here you can see how the paper held up to those different pens. You see that almost all of the pens have ghosting with the exception of the Friction. The Sharpie has quite a bit of bleed through, and there's even some transfer onto the next page. The Super Tips and all of the other pens you can clearly see from the opposite side. And this is fairly consistent in these notebooks when you use the books that have the conventional paperweight. This company has also put out an official bullet journal version of their A5 notebooks. Those have a heavier weight paper, and that's actually my preference. I wasn't necessarily going to do a review and overview of this B6 monthly planner and notebook, since I recently did a review of the same planner in the B5 size. That is the size that my husband is using for work this year, and after he was in it for a few weeks, he thought I'd really enjoy it as well. And I went out and purchased this B6 size because it's a little bit smaller and more compact, and I wanted to use it for a similar thing as a work bullet journal. This planner provides just enough structure by having those monthly pages in the front and having some of those planning pages. But then what I'm mostly looking for is a blank planner, since mostly I do bullet journaling when it comes to my work planning. And having 128 pages should be sufficient to carry me through the year. If you're interested in checking out my entire planning system for 2023, check out this video on the planning system that I'm using over the next few months.